JT Shaver here with New Layer, and today I'm going to show you two game-changing lights. In this video, I'll cover everything you need to know about the new Aputure 60D and 60X, and there is a lot to know. Everyone was frothing at the mouth when the new Amaran lights were announced, but I gotta say, these are the ones I'm most excited for. To start, these lights include basically every accessory you could ever want. That includes a carrying case, a dual NPF battery plate, and a Bowens mount adapter because yes, this light is not a native Bowens mount, but I'll get to that. The case this light comes with is the kind that I dream of. Yeah, I dream about carrying cases for lights. Big whoop, you want to fight about it? It's compact, rigid, and well laid out, and I have exactly zero complaints about the case. Looking at build quality, this is a pro-level light. Everything is metal, the knobs feel great, and the yoke is extremely sturdy with a rosette-style locking knob on the angle adjustment. It does not, however, have an umbrella mount if that's something you care about. One of my biggest pet peeves is when lights have no way to mount the AC adapter brick to the light or the light stand, so it's just dangling there or sitting on the ground. Aputure deserves a Nobel Prize for this one because they put a V-mount adapter on the yoke of the light and on the AC adapter brick so you can mount it directly to the light. Not only that, but you can mount a V-mount battery or a dual NPF battery plate directly to the light as well. If you didn't catch that, these lights support AC power, V-mount batteries, and NPF batteries, and include all the accessories you need to use all those power sources. No other lights that I know give you all those power options and include all the accessories that you need to use them. In addition, these lights are weatherproof, at least in the sense that they're dust and water resistant. I wouldn't take them out in a thunderstorm, but they are more rugged than most traditional COB lights. Bowens mount lights have become the norm, so anytime a new light is released that's not a native Bowens mount, people get nervous. That's understandable because either one, you have a bunch of Bowens mount modifiers that you can't use with the light, or two, you have to buy an optional Bowens mount adapter. In their infinite wisdom, Aputure also included a Bowens mount adapter for this light just to keep everyone's stress level down. As far as adapters go, it's probably also one of the best made and lowest profile that I've ever seen. So while other Bowens mount adapters can be kind of flimsy or cumbersome, this one to me is as close to perfect as you can get. Because these are the lights that keep on giving, they also come with barn doors. There's not much to say about barn doors, but the cool thing about these ones in particular is that two of the leaves fold open and close to block out the light better and to fold up more compactly when you break them down. I've heard Aputure is going to release modifiers specific to this light, although I'm not sure what those are going to be yet, so keep your eyes peeled. One of the biggest questions when I got wind of these lights was in regards to their brightness because they do have a built-in focusing lens. You can adjust the beam angle from 15 to 45 degrees using the knob on the back of the light. 45 degrees isn't the widest angle for a flood, but it is wide enough for most scenarios. With the 48-inch double diffuse softbox on this light with the Bowens mount adapter, I got no noticeable hot spots. The obvious benefits to a focusing lens is that you can get more concentrated brightness or throw the light farther without needing a reflector like a standard COB light. I measured the brightness of the 60X with my Sekonic C800 and got the following results, which by the way are 25% brighter than the advertised specs, which is pretty typical of Aputure in my experience. With the light set to full spot at 15 degrees and at the minimum color temperature, I got 26,200 lux. At 5600 Kelvin, I got 38,700 lux, and at the maximum color temperature, I got 38,040 lux. With the light set to 45 degrees at maximum flood and at the minimum color temperature, I got 4,710 lux. At 5600 Kelvin, I got 6,710 lux, and at the maximum color temperature, I got 6,570 lux. The daylight balance 60D is going to be 2/3 to 1 full stop brighter than this light depending on the color temperature that you have it set to. That's pretty significant, especially compared to more traditional 60-watt COB lights without a focusing lens. The other thing to note is that you won't get reduced brightness no matter what power source you're using unless you're using a single NPF battery, which yes, you can do with this light at 50% brightness. I only have the 60X, which has a color temperature range of 2700 to 6500 Kelvin, and these are the color accuracy measurements that I got. With the light set to 2700 Kelvin, I got an actual reading of 2657 Kelvin. With the light set to 6500 Kelvin, I got 6397 Kelvin. So it's within 50 to about 100 Kelvin of the advertised specs, which is as accurate as you'll ever find, and very good considering it has an extended color temperature range where some bicolor lights only go from 3200 to 5600 Kelvin. Measuring the light at 2700 Kelvin, I got a CRI of 96.7 with R9, R13, and R15 values of 72.5, 95.9, and 91.6, which are the most important for accurately rendering skin tones. I would have expected the R9 value to be at least in the mid-80s, but again, that's usually my expectation with 3200 Kelvin lights. With this light set to 3200 Kelvin, the R9, R13, and R15 values shoot up to 85.2, 99.9, and 97.3, so good numbers on average. At 3200 Kelvin, I also got an SSI versus the tungsten standard of 86, which is excellent. And in my opinion, SSI is the more important number to look at with the newest generations of LED lights. The biggest thing that I see is that at 2700 Kelvin, this light has a pretty strong green tint, but when I set it to 3200 Kelvin, the tint becomes 0. Measuring the 60X at the maximum color temperature of 6500 Kelvin, I got a CRI of 96.7 with R9, R13, and R15 values of 96.3, 99.2, and 96.5, so as good as it gets. At 5500 Kelvin, I got an SSI versus the daylight standard of 74, which is great, so no worries there. Overall, on the far low end of the color temperature range, some issues pop up with the tint and R9 values specifically, but as you move from 2700 to 3200 Kelvin, it quickly becomes nearly perfectly neutral. So overall, I would consider anything under about 3000 Kelvin to just kind of be a bonus in the color temperature range. If you want to see all the measurements I got for the 60X, I'll have a link in the description to my light comparison tool. It uses real-world measurements instead of manufacturer-provided specs, that way you can compare lights from different brands fairly. There is a fan on this light, but it only comes on when it gets hot enough. So if you use these lights at a lower power, then the fan might never come on depending on the ambient temperature. The good news is that when the fan does come on, it's relatively quiet. I'll play fan noise samples of the 60X back to back with some other popular lights, that way you can compare yourself. I did boost the audio levels of all these clips the same, just so you can hear them better. So the fan noise on the 60X is pretty much identical to the Amaran 200D and the Godox SL150W Mark II. I know some people were saying the fan noise in the Amaran lights were on the louder side, but as you can tell, mine wasn't. In my opinion, the fan noise on my copy of the 60X is perfectly acceptable unless you need absolute silence. Another area where this light excels is control. The knobs not only feel great, but like other Aputure lights, the menu system is super clean and really easy to use. You can obviously control the brightness and color temperature, but you can also choose between 4 different dimming curves to best fit your workflow. You can also turn the knobs slowly to adjust the color temperature in increments of 50 Kelvin and the brightness in increments of 1%, or turn them faster to adjust in increments of 1000 Kelvin and 10%. Pushing the right knob will cycle through color presets of 27, 32, 43, 56, and 6500 Kelvin. These lights do have built-in special effects, and you can customize things like the brightness, the color temperature, and the frequency easily on the back of the light. It's clear that Aputure spends some time dialing in their special effects because they're actually useful, whereas especially with budget lights, they're kind of random and they just don't look good, so they're kind of useless. Besides the ease of use on the back panel of this light, you can also use the Sidus Link app, which is top-notch. You can control every aspect of these lights, multiple lights at once, save your own custom presets, and more. Lastly, and maybe what I appreciate most about these lights, is just the attention to detail. They use locking connections for both the cord going into the light and the cord going from the wall into the AC power brick. The wall cord also has a Velcro strap to keep things nice and neat, and this light has something called Studio Mode. Studio Mode is the default setting for these lights, and what it is it turns the lights on as soon as power is applied to them, rather than needing to press the power button on the back of the light. This can be really useful if you have multiple lights plugged into the same power strip or attached to the same switch, because when you come in, you can turn them all on at once with one switch instead of having to walk around and turn them all on individually. Overall, the 60D and 60X are fantastic additions to the Aputure lineup and include everything you need to modify these lights to their full potential. They're super flexible with all the power options and the focusing lens, so they can be used from anything from a rim and background light to a key light for both YouTubers and serious filmmakers. The 60D costs $369 and the 60X is $419. Similar lights would be the Godox ML60 at $269 or the Nanlite Forza 60 and 60B at around $230 and $255. Both of those lights are great in their own regard, and I did full reviews on both of them if you want to check those out. But the 60D and 60X are superior in many ways with the power options, the accessories that are included, and the focusing lens. Before you go, leave a comment and let me know how you think these lights compare to the other options out there. Links are in the description if you want to check these lights out further. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.